with the fours in this chapter, in chapter 16. So we have a bunch of 4 times tables, multiplication facts here. We have for counted 9 times, which we've already reviewed here at the bottom. Okay, that just means to multiply. 4 times 9, 4 times 4. Over here we have our little chart that we should all be familiar with. We're skip counting and highlighting as we go. So here we're skip counting by 4s. And you try to see a pattern while you're doing it, okay, to see if you can figure out, based on the pattern, what the answer for 4 times 11 and 4 times 12 will be, okay. Then over here it says, multiply by 4 to find the number of quarters that are the same as $6. Okay, so at $1 equals 4 quarters, okay. So that's why they say to multiply by 6 times 4, because there's $6 here and each dollar has 4 quarters, so that would be 24. Okay, and then over here it says how many corners are in 7 squares. So we have 7 squares, okay, and we have to find out how many corners are in 1 square. Well, there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 7 times 4 equals 28. Okay. Then it says on number 18, Ada needs quarters to wash her clothes. She put $3 bills in the change machine. How many quarters did she get? Okay, well, $3 and $1 equals 4 quarters. So we have to multiply these dollars by 4 to convert them into quarters, and that gives us 12. So she got 12 quarters. Okay. 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 Anytime that you see something like this, use your blocks to build the numbers you say when you skip count by 4, when skip counting by 4. Over here, you do not have to do this. If you want to, you can just write your number skip counting, but you don't have to do the blocks part. So over here, you just do your multiplication facts practice, and then over here, as usual, remember, over here we're going to have at the bottom 4 times 0, 4 times 1, okay, 4 times 2, 4 times 3, 4 times 4, 4 times 6, 4 times 4, 4 times 5, 4 times 6, 4 times 7, 4 times 8, 4 times 9, 4 times 10. And it's and then, you know, sometimes it's better to just fill them all in first to make sure you did that right, and then you go back and you start to answer them. 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 3 is 12. Okay, and you can do that. Just do either the bottom or the top first, and then go to the next one after. That way you don't get confused. Over here it says multiply by 4 to find the number of quarters that are the same as $4. Well, $4, in order to convert that to quarters, we know that there's 4 quarters in a dollar, so we multiply it by 4, and that is 16. Okay. Okay. And 4 plates. Okay. Okay, so things like these get a little tricky for the students. So for number 18, it says, how many horseshoes will the blacksmith need for 5 horses? Well, you have to remember and you have to think, okay, how many horseshoes does 1 horse need? How many hooves does 1 horse have? It has 4. Okay. So how many will the blacksmith need for 5 horses? Well, we multiply by 5. So that's how we get our 20. So don't let that confuse you, because I've seen a lot of kids, they'll circle the 5 here and they'll be like, oh gosh, what else? So just read it. How many horseshoes will the blacksmith need for 5 horses? Okay, well, how many horseshoes will 1 horse need? Well, they have 4 legs and 4 hooves, so it's 4 times 5. Okay, so just think about it. Okay, and slow down and you'll get it. Okay, over here there's more multiplication facts. And then over here is the same thing that we already reviewed. Over here, multiply by 4 to find the number of quarters. Same thing. Okay, this one is a little bit different, okay? Because this one, number 17 says, Judah bought paper with 12 quarters. So they're already giving us the equals part. And the reason we know that's the equals part is because it says, solve for the unknown to find the number of dollars he used to pay for the paper. So this is multiplication. So we are multiplying here. And when we multiply, when we're trying to find the dollars, that means we're working backwards, because when you multiply, you get more. Okay, multiplication and addition gives you more of something. So when they're asking us to find the number of dollars, that means that we're working backwards. So what we have to do is first we have to say, okay, Judah bought paper with 12 quarters. Okay, so first of all, if we're going to find the dollars is missing, but we know that when we multiply to turn dollars into quarters, we multiply by 4, because 4 quarters equal $1. So now we say 4 times what number is going to give us 12, and we know that that's 3. So he used $3. That's what Judah had to pay for the paper, okay? So that's a little trickier, but you have to, if you just remember your money, you remember your measurements, you remember those things, and you know that dollars, okay, are bigger. That equals more than quarters. Quarters are smaller. I won't put more, I'll put larger, bigger, and these are smaller. Okay, so these are smaller in number, these are bigger, okay? So you know that because the dollars, remember we said when they're bigger, you're going to need less of them. Remember with the other lesson? And if you're going to have smaller ones, you're going to need more of them. So this number is going to represent the quarters because we need more of them. Okay, and then this number that we're missing is going to be the dollars, because we need less of them because they're bigger. Okay, so I know that that's a little, it's kind of like backwards way of thinking, but if you try to remember that anytime that we're saying, okay, how many quarters equal $1, how many feet equal a yard, how many teaspoons equal a tablespoon, all of those things, you have to think which one is the smaller one and which one am I going to need less of. And whatever you're going to need less of is going to be one of these two numbers. And whatever you're going to need more of, which is going to be this one. And the one you need more of is going to be the smaller one, okay? The quarters are the smaller, we need more of those. The dollars are bigger, we need less of those, okay? Just try to, I know that it's a tricky way of thinking, but just try to practice doing that. Okay. Okay, so that one I'll just let you guys figure that one out because we've done plenty of those. This is some more review and just practicing our multiplication facts. This is, okay, this is a good one to go over. So it says 32 quarters. And remember, when it gives us the quarters, which are the smaller unit, that's the one that's we're gonna need more quarters, okay? So they give us the bigger number, okay? So then we know that we're finding the smaller number, because with dollars we need less of them because they're worth more, okay? So we know that when it gives us the quarters to dollars, then we know that the dollars are going to be smaller, okay? Because what I've seen is I've seen a lot of people make this number way bigger and kind of almost do 32 times 4 or something like that. No, if you're getting the quarters, which are the smaller unit, then you know this one's going to be, what's it called? This one's going to be smaller. The number's going to be smaller. This one's teaspoons, and teaspoons are smaller than tablespoons. So again, we need more teaspoons to fill a cup than we need tablespoons. So this one is going to be smaller, and we need three teaspoons for every tablespoon. So if we have 9 teaspoons, okay, these are 9 teaspoons, and each one of these make 3 tablespoons. We need 3 of them to make 1 tablespoon. Here's 1 tablespoon, here's another, and here's a third. So this is 3 tablespoons, okay? And this is a nice way to do it if you can't do it that way, but if not, you can also put, because 9 is our total, and then you can say, okay, there's 3 teaspoons in each tablespoon. Blank times what? Times 3 equals 9. What is that blank? 3. So you know it's 3 tablespoons, okay? So you can do it that way too. Because especially when it has these 32 quarters, it's easier to do it that way than to write out 32 quarters. So, okay. Area and perimeter we've already gone over. Okay. Okay. This one is a challenging one, so I'll do this one. Number 20 says, Sierra put 5 gallons of gasoline in her car and 2 gallons in a can for her lawnmower. How many quarts of gasoline did she buy altogether? Okay, so first off, we see that they give us how many gallons, okay? 5 gallons in her car, 2 gallons in her lawnmower, but then they ask us in quarts. The question is, how many quarts of gasoline did she buy altogether? So that's the first thing to look out for, okay? Because sometimes they'll give you information, but that's not really information that's ready to answer your question yet. So we have to get that information ready. So first of all, okay, they want to know how much she bought altogether, how many quarts. Well, let's find out how many gallons she bought altogether first. So we have 5 gallons in her car and 2 gallons in a can. 5 plus 2 is 7. So she has 7 gallons that she bought, okay? In order to turn gallons into quarts, we have to multiply by 4 because 1 gallon equals 4 quarts, okay? So since we know that, we have to do 7, the gallons that she bought, times 4 because 1 gallon equals 4 quarts, and that gives us 28, okay? So she bought 28 quarts of gasoline, okay? Okay, and we move on over here. And over here, there's some multiplication facts practice, but there's also these at the bottom, which I have seen students have a hard time with. And this one says 25 pennies. How much is a penny? It's 1, okay? Equals blank nickels. 1 nickel is 5. So, okay, if we have that, we know that 25 times 1 is just 25, so 25 pennies will just be 25, okay? And then 5, over here we have 5 nickels. I mean, we have 5 cents per each nickel. So we can do 5 times what equals 25? And we know that that's 5, okay? So put 5 in there. Okay, that's our answer is 5. So over here we have 40 cents. Okay, so that's already in cents, so we don't need to do anything to that. But dimes, we know that's 10. Okay, so what number times 10 will give us that 40? That's what we're doing. What number times 10 will give us 40? And that is 4. Okay, what number times 10 will give us 40? 4. 4 times 10 gives us 40. Okay. Okay. The next one, some more area and perimeter practice. Okay. This one. Okay. So we'll do number 20. Number 20 says, Harriet decided to run 2 ads in a local newspaper. They each cost $4 per day. She ran them both for 4 days. How much did she have to pay? Okay, so if it cost $4 per day per ad, okay, so she decided to run 2 ads. So 2 times 4, because it's 2 ads and each one is $4 a day, then every day she was spending $8 to run those 2 ads. She ran them both for 4 days, so every day she spent $8 and she ran it for 4 days. So how much did she spend altogether? $32. Okay, So remember, when they give you stuff like that, you always have to try and condense it. So they give you spread out information and they want you to condense that information. So over here it tells you she decides to run 2 ads and they each cost $4 per day. Okay, in order for us to find out how much she paid to run them for 4 days, we have to know how much it cost for 1 day. And they didn't give us the cost for 1 day, they only gave us the cost for 1 ad for 1 day. Okay, that's 4, but she did 2 ads. So that's why we had to do 2 ads times $4 a day. Now we know that $8 a day is what it costs. So 1 day for both of her ads cost $8. Then we're like, okay, how much would it cost for 4 days? Well, now we can do our $8, which is the cost per day for both ads, times the 4 days that she's going to run them. And that gives us our $32. Okay? Okay, over here we have some more practice, and over here we have at the bottom the pints and the quarts. So remember, when we're doing a problem like this, which one is smaller, pints or quarts? We know 1 quart equals 2 pints. So the bigger one is the quarts and the smaller one is the pints. So if they already gave us the pints, that's the one that's going to be our equals. It's equals 16 because the pints are the smaller ones, so we're going to need more of those to measure things. Okay, the quarts are going to be the smaller ones because we're going to need less of them because they are bigger. Okay, so we have 2 pints equal a quart. So we know that it's going to be times 2 because we are going to multiply these quarts to get to 16. And then our blank is whatever number we can multiply by 2 to get to 16, which is 8. Okay? So our 2 comes from 1 quart equaling 2 pints. Our 16 is because we know that pints are smaller than quarts, so we're going to need more of them to measure the same amount of liquid. So we know that that's the big number they're giving us. That's going to be our equals to answer, because that's where the bigger number always is when we're multiplying. Okay, then we come over here and we have feet and yards. Okay, feet and yards. And what does this show? It says, okay, 27 feet equals blank yards. Well, 1 yard, we know 1 yard equals 3 feet, right? So we know that the feet measurement is the smaller measurement. So if they give us the 27 feet and we're looking for the yards, we know that we need more feet, right, to measure the same amount of distance, where we need less yards to, so we know that the yards are going to be less. We know that. So we know that the 27 is going to be the equals portion, because the equals portion is the part, that's the part where we, it's always going to be the bigger one because it's already been multiplied. The 2 numbers have already been multiplied and they are, the number's bigger now. Okay, so we know it's going to be equals 27, and then we know that 1 yard equals 3 feet, so we know that our other number is 3, and now we just have to find the one that's missing, and that number is 9, because 9 times 3 equals 27. So then this one would be 9. Okay. 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 Okay, this one says, okay, Bonnie buttons the jackets of her 3 boys and 3 girls. Each jacket had 9 buttons. How many buttons did Bonnie button in all? Okay, so first it says she buttoned the jackets of her 3 boys and 3 girls. So she's splitting her children up into boys and girls, but we really just need to know how many children in total she was buttoning jackets for. So we have 3 boys and 3 girls. If we add those together, that is 6 children, okay? Which is really what we need to know. We don't need them split up into boys and girls. So we have that, 6 children, and each jacket had 9 buttons. Okay, so she's buttoning up every single one of her kids' buttons on their jackets, and each one of those jackets that the children are wearing have 9 buttons. 9 buttons times 6 children equals, remember what we do with the 9s, that's the number we're multiplying by 9. 1 less is 5. 5 plus 4 equals 9, so it's 54. She had to button 54 buttons, which is quite a lot of buttons, I might say. Okay, that is all for chapter 16, and if you guys have any questions, always ask me on Slack.